Mr. Cosby has, through his attorneys, from the beginning denied the accusations against him. And if anyone is being defamed right now through media, through celebrity onlookers, through others, it's Mr. Cosby. Mr. Cosby has denied the accusations that have been lodged thus far. The sheer volume or number of people who are saying a particular thing does not make it true.
So you can see Bill Cosby taking a different tact here, fighting back. And you just heard one of his attorneys defending him with that argument. But now he's going on offense. And the comedian is countersuing over the release of the 2005 deposition where he admitted to giving women Quaaludes, among other things. Cosby's suit said he only admitted to being one of the many people who introduced the drug into their consensual sex life back in the 70s. Cosby's team fighting to stop the release of more documents, and they're also accusing the media of smearing him. Okay, I got a couple legal questions, and as we've talked before, Jimmy's far better half is involved in helping victims of abuse.
She's not involved with Bill Cosby.
No.
I don't know where you were going with that.
I'm going there with this. I'm going there with this. If I know statute of limitations, Jimmy, but explain this to me. How does new information that would corroborate maybe even some of the claims, forget about the lawsuits, we'll get to that in a second, but the deposition information, whether it was sealed, unsealed, doesn't matter. It's out there. Right. How come none of that could be applicable to explain to the layman out here with some of the claims these women have, civil or otherwise, against Cosby?
The admissibility of this information at any civil suit or any criminal case that's brought that alleges a certain pattern is unaffected by the way it was obtained. There might be, as Mark said before, authentication problems, but the fact that it may have been illegally obtained or wrongfully released does not affect its admissibility in subsequent litigation. As for it backfiring for him, he can sue three people. He can sue the media, he can sue the court, he can sue anybody that illegally leaked the information. Maybe he gets some traction from anybody who illegally leaked the information that promised to keep it sealed. He's not getting anywhere suing the court. And if he wants to sue the media, in my opinion, that's the only place things can backfire, because if you're going to sue the media for defamation, you're opening the door to everything else that they can come up with in order to defend themselves.
And Mark, help me. If you're the attorney for one of these women that made these allegations and he's now bringing a countersuit against this, all of a sudden he's got to sit down to a deposition, right? He's got to answer the questions that you're going to want to know, which puts him, I think, where he's not really at risk right now. He could be at risk.
He could be at risk, but what's interesting to me about this, and I'd like to play questioner, why do you think this is even a story at this point? Is Bill Cosby in any way culturally relevant in 2015? What do you think is driving this as a media person?
Because I can just tell you, when you ask a certain generation in this country, who was America's dad? Right. And the fact that he was African American, he was still America's dad. The ratings proved it on Thursday nights on NBC.
Sanford? He was America's dad.
He was a different one. But I mean, he was such a relevant cultural iconic figure. And then he took the position after that to lecture America on morality, that for a certain age group and the media deciders that are in that age group right now, he held him up to be a paragon of virtue. And now to hear something that's so forget about unconscionable behavior, so impossible to connect to his imagery.
The level of deceit is news in and of itself.
I mean, from my generation, Bill Cosby, who doesn't know Dr. Huxtable? I mean, it was the #1 TV show, I think, for 8 years in a row. I mean, the Fat Albert comics for kids.
Although people are equating his personal life with the message he had been given. So you can tell kids don't play with matches, and you may be an arsonist. It doesn't mean your message isn't good anymore.
But so it marginalizes. Deliver it.
No, but very few people are. So when you really stop and look at it, you can look at people in churches and synagogues, and they will tell you to do one thing.
And lecturing black men about how to behave.
But again, there's a trial going on right now in Rockland County involving a rabbi who was a pillar in his community, and it's about him molesting kids. Now, I don't know if that occurred.
Only 10.
Nonetheless, but if that occurred, it doesn't mean that he didn't give good messages.
No, but Mayo, there's a distinction between somebody who holds themselves as a paragon of virtue. We've seen certain faith leaders of all different faiths do this. They'll get a DWI or they'll act improperly. This was a pattern of behavior that was predatory. Now, forget about this. I'm trying to get back to the legal thing for a second.
Right.
he's going to take a position that he's sick of being a punching bag, seemingly, and he's waited. It's a different tack than he's taken for the last 6+ months now, right? So now he's going on offense. If you were his counsel, would you just say, wait till somebody else does something and get out of the media limelight? You're 78, 79 years old. You can't win this fight. Or do you say you got nothing to lose? You're being excoriated everywhere. No one will defend you. You might as well punch back. What would your counsel be?
I think to Jimmy's point, the lawsuit I would bring, if in fact it applies, would be against whoever leaked the document. So if you have a company that should have kept that sealed, I would go after that company. And then you're not getting factually into whether I did anything in the first place. But I would not go after the ladies that are claiming that I lied, because now you will have a deposition. You're facing the possibility of perjury. And you could face that even if you're mistaken about what you said 10 years earlier. He's 78 years old. He's going to have to remember almost verbatim what his prior testimony was.
And what does he have to gain by suing these ladies? They probably have no money.
That's a good
There's
point.
nothing to recover.
It's his legacy. I mean, at 78, none of us has reached that age yet. I think different considerations drive somebody. How's he going to be remembered for posterity? As you said, everything that he did that was iconic in the 70s is going to be blown away, and he's going to be remembered for this, and evidently that's not the way he wants to be remembered.
No one will stand with him. Okay, this obviously...
No, his lawyer, that powerhouse, will stand with him. That 7th grade civics lecture that we just got. I mean, that's the high-powered lawyer who's defending...
I got so close. Do you see that, Jimmy? I got so close. I was right there. All right, we want to get you involved in our conversation. Head over to Facebook, which we'll be talking about in a second, by the way, as well as Twitter, and sound off on today's question. Do the old documents released in the Cosby case open them up to more legal trouble? We've heard the answers from our panel. Coming up next, we take a look at the dash cam video showing the arrest of the woman who killed herself allegedly in jail 3 days after the arrest. It shows her arguing with a cop and him threatening to tase her. And our question for the panel is, where is the line between how you can and can't talk to an officer, and when does that line get crossed where you get locked up for that dialogue? Stay with us. We'll be right back.